a property looks like a rental property, and we all know what that means. If it looks like a rental, it will get treated like a rental.
Yeah.
It will attract a certain kind of guest that will treat it like a rental property.
It's like, oops, I spilled wine. Oh, well, it's a rental.
If a property looks like a home, like someone's home, they will treat it like their home, and you'll get a much better guest. You'll have a much better experience as a host and the guest as well.
We would love a couple tips and tricks from you guys. You guys are 7-figure hosts, and we love to give kind of freebie information to our audience. How do you set your Airbnb up so you got it? How do you make it just look spectacular? Is it just going to be the pictures? Is it going to be staging? Can you give a couple tricks on that?
It's a really good question. It's an important question because there's a lot of new entrants coming into the market. There's a lot of new hosts, and we've gone on record predicting, and it's actually just starting to happen now. We're going to start having institutional players entering the STR space for the first time. So although this is a positive sign and a good thing for the industry overall, it means there's more competition coming. So when there's more competition entering the space, you have to be very thoughtful and diligent as to how are you going to make your listing, your property, stand out from the herd of hosts that are coming in. And a couple of years ago, actually a few years ago, you could make a lot of money on these platforms by just simply putting up any ho-hum listing and just taking a few pictures, having some crappy IKEA furniture.
We like to say grandma's furniture.
The picture where you can see yourself in the mirror taking it.
A few years ago, that worked fine. And honestly, you didn't have to put a lot of effort in. Nowadays, if you don't have you pretty much have to have a very thoughtful design in order to just compete. I'm not saying do well, I'm just saying compete, right? So a few things on that as far as what we think about and different things we like to focus on when we're setting up a new property is, and we hit on this with our students all the time, how can you be unique and stand out? So what does that mean? Well, what kind of design can you incorporate that no one else in your market is thinking about? Maybe you can have a themed property. Maybe you can have certain amenities that no one else is offering.
Yeah, and I think a big thing for this is just having it consistent throughout the entire property. Like, what's that pizzazz? Like, what is going to catch that eye? You only get one photo, on your listing when they're scrolling through the different listings on Airbnb. You got that hero photo right there. What are you going to what's going to pop out, right? So you really get that one chance to make that first impression. So, really, when you're looking at design, just kind of coming back to basics of, you know what, you can hire an interior designer, or if you're pretty good at it, look at Pinterest, look at those other kind of sites, look at your competition, what they're doing, and then do something better. So even just basic stuff, guys, like putting plants in your listing, having greenery, having that contrast, and we say fake plants again, because we're not going to put that on guest of water plants, but fake plants, having, a really bright, modern kind of space tends to do well. White sheets, like white towels, just very bright. Just really looking at that exclusive kind of experience for someone to go in. All the linens are matching. And I think when Michael said having that pizzazz or something that just stands out, having a feature wall in your space is really big. And we tend to do that, something that's really unique and different. So I don't know if you've heard of board and batten type walls or something, having a shiplap wall, even doing, and those are a little bit more money, like a brick wall or something, even just doing wallpaper on one wall, something that's really unique. And I know people are seriously wallpaper, but really cool. It can really pop a space and make it different.
And it doesn't have to be super elaborate. We have a colleague that's in the space, and he has a listing, he calls it the Unicorn House. And, I can tell you, just from looking at the listing, the property.
I'm visualizing right now.
The property in and of itself is
fairly
simple, but in one of the bedrooms, he just simply has a wall decal with this giant on the wall. A lot of pinks, a lot of soft.
He has a unicorn lamp and unicorn pillows. It's just it's a theme, but it's so different. Who has a unicorn listing?
Right.
Yeah. So and he charges $500-$600 a night. He does incredibly well with it because people think I want to stay at the unicorn
property. And that really sticks in people's minds.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's cool too, because, you know, you will get multiple stays from guests. So they might stay there, have a phenomenal experience with it. And then the next year, hey, let's go back and do another year at the unicorn home, something that's going to make it stand out. You definitely have to differentiate yourself these days with all the competition out there, and appreciate the pro tips, guys. And it sounds elementary, some of the things that we're talking about, but they make a big difference in your revenue. In that same vein, what's an absolute no-no? What do you absolutely not want to do to your space?
I would say a big thing is just not like almost having it like a bachelor pad. Do you know what I mean? When I say that, when I say having it like a bachelor, almost going too minimalistic, like we'd like to do a lot of throws and pillows and like having things like that. If you literally just have like 2 pillows or 1 pillow and it's just like a blanket, like it's not going to cut it. Taking your own photos, do not do that with the space. And just not having the basics even in there. So enough plates, enough cutlery, you know, wine glasses versus water glasses. Like you need to have all those details. Like we have full checklists we give our students of all the details that you need. Especially now with, you know, the pandemic and endemic, like having cleaning supplies, like everything like that. I guess a big thing, and I guess a tip on there is not having keyless entry. So if you're still giving out keys to people, like that's a big no-no, because people are used to just going in and out of a property with like a code and just having a key, like it's not secure. So you just want to make sure you have it set up appropriately and ready to take guests. You don't have to meet them in person. I would say is a big thing when setting up a property.
Yeah, we had a call the other day with our interior designer, and she said something that really stuck out to us. She said, look, if a property looks like a rental property, and we all know what that means, if it looks like a rental, it will get treated like a rental. It will attract a certain kind of guest that will treat it like a rental property.
Like, oops, I spilled wine. Oh, well, it's a rental.
If a property looks like a home, like someone's home, they will treat it like their home, and you'll get a much better guest. You'll have a much better experience as a host and the guest as well, right? So a lot of these things that we're talking about, I know a lot of it might seem incredibly basic, you know, it really does come down to the fundamental things that really build that consistency. Because that's the thing with Airbnb, is that there really is no consistency with it, right? You might stay in an Airbnb that's absolutely amazing and incredible, and then you might go to another one and it's an absolutely terrible experience, right? So it's really important to incorporate these different things. And again, really focusing on that experience, having something that's incredibly clean, inviting, and it's something that people are going to talk about and remember when they come back.
And rebook. Yeah.
Okay, so there was 2. We talked about obviously the aesthetics of the property itself. We talked about the keyless entry. Can I squeeze one more out of you for our audience?
Having amenities, I would say, is huge. So, I mean, everyone has the same 4 walls in a place, but it's the small details and those amenities. So having
maybe
like
a foosball table,
so
things.
I'll give you a good example of what we did on a number of our properties last year. So when we were actually doing some analysis on our own market, one of the things we realized is a lot of the highest grossing listings in our city, they all had, I mean, there were some differences, of course, but one of the most common things we noticed was common amenity that we noticed, without question, nearly all of them had hot tubs. We're like, well, that's interesting. But the problem was with the pandemic was hot tubs
were sold out.
They were sold out and they were stupidly expensive. So we're like, well, how can we bring this to our guests without breaking the bank? It's like an average hot tub, even like a 4 to 6 person one, was like $10,000.
No, $10,000 to $14,000 for very basic, and it was like 6 weeks behind. Like it was crazy to try and get these in.
Yeah. Right. So what we actually looked at was a little bit of a hack. We actually found you could use inflatable hot tubs, and they were like 1/10 the cost, and they were readily available. So we tried it out on a couple, and we
tested it out. Yeah.
We noticed immediately a huge difference in revenue. So we're like
double the revenue. So it's essentially not just a difference, double the revenue.
Big difference.
Yeah.
So just something simple like that, because again, a lot of the competition in our market, a lot of people don't want to put in that work. They're like, well, yeah, maybe a hot tub's nice, but I've got to do the maintenance on it.
Yeah, you do.
You do. Yeah. But again, that's why we talk about building a team, having consistent people that can come in and take these things off your hand. So you don't have to get involved in the day-to-day, but you're able to provide something a lot of hosts are either not capable or willing to provide. And that's how you stand out and really command the lion's share in your nightly rate.
No, I appreciate that tip, guys. There's multiple ways to skin the cat in the STR space. Matthew will go ahead and drop a link to his video that he's done recently talking about lavish keys, and that's going to be kind of a turnkey management program for people that don't want to have any day-to-day operation with either their own short-term rentals or don't want to get involved in the STR space on that day-to-day basis, or are converting long-term rentals into short-term rentals, and again, want a hands-off investment approach. And then we've got BNB Bootcamp with Michael and Katrina, which is a phenomenal platform. It's for people that want to get involved. They, want to be involved in day-to-day operations. Obviously, there's team building, and that's part of your guys' training. You guys are just time and time again producing wildly successful testimonials and students from your program. If people are ready, how do they get involved, and what does that look like? What would next steps be?
Yeah. So essentially, if you're ready to go and you're like, hey, I really can do this, I want to start building having that own cash flow, having back my time again, and I really want to start building this and work with people that have done it, for over 3.5 years, teaching thousands of people how to do this. Definitely just reach out to BNB Bootcamp at vipfinancial.com. I believe the link is below this video, and send us an email. Either us or the team will get back to you, and we'll get you scheduled in on an onboarding call. That onboarding call is really important just to see if this is a good fit for you, right? Like, this is not for everyone, guys. And we don't sugarcoat it. We're very straightforward. We want to make sure this is exactly what you want. Really from there, if you're ready to go, what it looks like is you'll get signed up for the program. We'll send you homework right away, and we'll get you logins to the course. So it's a self-directed course, and also every week you get a touch point with us and the team to make sure that you're moving along. And this is a 4-month program that we're offering.
Yes, this is what we call the Elite Masterclass. So it's actually the last time we are going to be doing our 4-month masterclasses. We're making some updates.
Exciting changes,
but
I've heard by popular demand.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is the last time, legitimately, not false scarcity, that we are doing a 4-month masterclass. We are only going to be accepting 10 people in total. And then once the spots are full, we'll close enrollment, and then we'll certainly announce when the next available round of coaching is going to be made available to the public. But this is it. So
typically for the 4-month program, it's quite intense. It's really starting from the basics all the way to building a property, getting up and running, and then growing and scaling, getting your team automating and everything. So it's that hand-holding process all the way through to the 4 months. So with our program, we typically charge $16,000 US. However, because of a relationship with Michael Matthew and the VIP Financial Education channel, we do discount it down to $12K. Okay, and that is, guys, last program for this, and that's just what we have as a relationship with VIP.
Yeah. So again, covering the very basics. We're going to show you everything from how to get your business fundamentals set up, how to get incorporated, how to get your website up, to then going out, approaching property owners, knowing what properties you want to be targeting,
winning properties,
which ones you want to avoid, how to get your property staged, designed, unique, so that it stands out amongst the competitors that you're going to be competing against, how to do pricing, how to optimize your listing, how to run your business financials successfully, so if you're actually being profitable or what you need to do in order to make that a reality for you. And that's just kind of scratching the surface of what it's like we said, it's a very intense 4-month program. It's the last time we are going to be doing it in its current form before we make some updates for the next round of students that will be coming through in the future.
So guys, obviously there's going to be a cost associated with this. No business startup, whether it's a coaching or a brick and mortar location, you're going to get for free. So invest in yourself, invest with experts that are going to help you make far fewer mistakes that are obviously going to just be more costly in the short and the long term. There's a cost involved here, but I understand you guys have a funding resource for people that can utilize that for OPM. Maybe they don't have, great credit. Maybe they don't have the capital to move forward with you, but you do have an option for those folks?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, just very recently, within the last couple of months, we've established a relationship with a third-party funding source. So what's happened in the past is someone might have the capital to get their business going, but they may not have the capital to invest in themselves and gain the knowledge they need in order to have success with the opportunity as we've laid it out. So with our new partnership, what we can do is, if there's any concerns about the nature or the amount of the investment that we're asking here, we can actually space that out over a much longer period of time at a very low, affordable monthly payment at very reasonable terms. So it just makes it more accessible to a wider audience of people, so that if that's the only real barrier from them getting started, we have a connection and a source that can make that easier and lower the barrier of entry.
Then you have the capital to invest in your business, really grow and scale quicker, and it's just a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, I love that you guys have that a resource now. So thanks for sharing. Guys, any other parting shots? And Katrina, you said something there, and I always like to ask, who's this not for? You said, look, this is not for everyone. And that's the reality, guys. We put a lot of videos out here. Everything is not going to be a good fit. In fact, most are not, but some may. And it's at least worth a consideration and a free consultation call. It doesn't cost you a nickel to talk to these folks if you are interested in potentially pursuing it, and they'll give you some more info. So Katrina, who should discount themselves right now?
Yeah, this is big, guys. Coming into starting a business is not easy. It's simple the way we coach and train and go through the steps, but it is not easy. There's going to be hard work. There's going to be highs and lows throughout the business. It's like the roller coaster, but we're going to help guide you through that. So this is not for someone who doesn't like to put the work in, can't think outside the box, really like try to do things on their own first, not showing up to calls, not actually putting the work in, the time in to actually do this. And that's important to us. And if you can commit to doing this, there's people that are interested versus committed. If you're interested, into starting a business, it's like you might need to delve a little bit deeper to actually be committed, because it's a long-term endeavor when you're looking at this. Yes, it's a 4-month program that we're doing, but it doesn't stop end of the 4 months. This is for years and years to create a sustainable business that can be running by itself without your involvement, and can be passive, but you have to put in that legwork at the beginning.
Yeah, and I mean, Katrina just hit on a very important word there. We always encourage anyone that's coming into this to have a long-term outlook and a long-term mindset because the reality is businesses take time to build. If you could do it overnight, I mean, everyone would do that, but that's just not reality. That's just not what happens.
We do shorten
and it's not sustainable.
Totally.
Kind of flashlighting about it.
Anyone that's looking for get rich quick, solve all your problems in 30 days, take a magic pill, shiny object. Just please don't take a consultation call, because it's just not going to be for you,
But if you're ready and you're committed, you want to learn the shortest path to get there, avoid all the pitfalls, and really, take the action, then you'll be a good fit.
Yeah. If you want to join a like-minded community of people that, might be in a 9-to-5 job now, but want to set themselves up so that in the future, they can walk away from that and be fully self-sufficient, self-reliant, control their own income, control their own financial future. That's what we provide in the BNB Bootcamp, is a method to do that. Not the only method, but a very reliable, proven system that's worked for countless people that we've worked with.
Yeah. So guys, if you're watching and you want to learn how to make an extra thousands, $10,000s of dollars per month, and we've seen testimonials here on the channel of folks that are making far much more than that in a relatively short window of time. Don't miss this opportunity. Don't kick yourself a year from now, when this opportunity does not exist anymore, and then you're wondering why you never got involved in the STR space as it's continuing to blow up. Obviously, go out there and do your own research. There's tons of online information that you can look at. You can go out there and absolutely try and go it alone. Our recommendation is to always have guidance from experts, which is why we continue to bring these folks back here on the channel. So guys, thanks for joining us here on the VIP Financial Ed YouTube channel, where we talk about all things credit, capital, and cash flow. Michael and Katrina, thanks for joining us here again. And until next time, everyone, take care. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Michael.
Thanks so much.